This is part 2 of The Pawn. Terry leaned forward in his chair. A strange, sinister will entered into him, chilling his blood and clutching with icy talons at his heart. Impelled by something stronger than himself, urged and pushed on by he knew not what, a force felt by each nerve in his body and each hair upon his head, his right hand went forward and he moved his own knight. Immediately, silently, the opposing bishop's pawn went forward 2 spaces. "The dead man's gambit," came in a hushed whisper through Terry's dry lips. It was an opening he had invented with Martin Grimm, the strange, silent, old recluse who lived in the adjoining house, an opening he had once christened with such a grim whimsicality. A gambit is an opening in which a pawn is sacrificed in order to gain position. "The dead man's gambit," whispered Terry again, as his hand went forward and he completed the answering move, only to have it instantly responded to in the correct style. "I thought only old Grimm and I knew that." Silently, the strange game went on, as the fire ebbed lower and ever lower, and the dark shadows piled up on the walls and in the corners. Above the chessmen, the bridge lamp burned in a single spot of futile light, and, pale and rigid, Terry sat, leaning forward slightly and making the required moves. From the presence came no sound, no indication. Inexorably, inevitably, the game went on. At last, with the game drawing to a close, the young man maneuvered the thing that was his opponent into an almost impossible position. Tensely, he inclined over the board, his eyes piercing into the curious game. There was no answering move for a space, only black, mysterious silence and the mounting shadows. Finally, Terry found speech. "Well, get out of that one," he said grimly, wetting his lips for the words, which came a trifle triumphantly. His voice sounded oddly flat and depthless in the silent place, and the accustomed room seemed almost unfamiliar to his staring eyes. There was an answering crash that came like a stroke of lightning. The chessmen were swept from the board and sent flying to all parts of the room, as though an angry man had done it in a fit of blind rage. Silence again. An opaque silence, as if the room were alone with its dead. The bridge light cut through the darkness steadily, and the fire at last went out. The game was done. Terry sat and stared, his every sense on the alert, awakened to its fullest perception by the crashing of the chessmen. He gazed fixedly at the empty chair opposite him, as though he had been through a nightmare and had just awakened. "I must have been awake," he told himself, noting that the chessmen were scattered all over the floor and bending forward to rescue one of them from the fireplace. "And yet," said he, "it hardly seems possible." He held in his hand the rook he had salvaged from the flames, and examined the ivory piece as though he had never seen it before. To be continued in part 3 of The Pawn. Hey there! If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing to XOXO Gossip Lips, you won't miss out on any of our future videos packed with entertainment, knowledge, and fun. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Happy watching! Cheers!